Tonight on the Scare Guys Show, we have Jon Schnitzer. He's the director and producer of the awesome new documentary that you can find on Netflix called Haunters, The Art of the Scare. All of us have seen it. It's pretty awesome. It's all about the scare and haunt industry, the players, and the future of the haunt industry. Also, some of the most extreme haunted houses you will see out there. McCamey Manor, we're coming for you. John, he's going to take us on one wild, crazy, scary night tonight. Pay attention.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah?
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Over there, Luke.
There we go. What better way to start the show than with a Scare Jim? Welcome to the Scare Guys Show. We are glad you guys are tuning in this week. We have such a great host. We have such a great guest who will be, and great host. I don't want to throw us under the bus or anything, but Jon Schnitzer is with us tonight. He is the producer, director of Haunters. If you have not yet watched this on Netflix, make sure you go check it out, guys. It's all about the scare industry. It's about everything that we love. You know, with Halloween Horror Nights coming up, with Not Scary Farm and all that stuff all across the country. This guy, he takes you behind to see some of the best scare actors out there. Shar, just love her. And anyways, my name is Jim. I'm the managing editor here at the Scare Guys Show. And who else do we have with us tonight?
It's Katie, back again. That's pretty much all I have to say, I guess.
Are you excited? You excited, Katie?
Yeah.
We're
I'm
in
really
your
excited.
season.
Yeah. I am excited to launch, I guess, officially now that we're in September,
Yes, it's
So.
like heading out of the gate.
Yeah. So.
John.
I'm Jon Schnitzer. I'm the guy you were talking about.
And we are so excited to have you in the room tonight.
I'm excited to be here. This is awesome.
All right.
This whole thing here.
We have so much to talk about
I'm
tonight.
really excited.
All right.
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm Jim's friend.
Oh, wow.
And
That's not
And I'm a contributor to theconguy.com and an
Yes.
occasional guest host here and a regular host on the Con Guy Show.
yes. So Derek is one of our main people on the Con Guy Show. Thank you so much. And he reluctantly sometimes comes on the Scare Guy because he's not always
You
into
need,
the
the,
scare
you need
stuff.
the voice of an outsider.
Yes,
You know?
and that is what he is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. But he did watch the documentary.
I did.
Yes.
You
Who's on
don't
the-
like scary stuff?
It depends. I don't enjoy being scared, I'd say. I can appreciate horror and stuff when it's done well. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of rap music, but I think Eminem is a brilliant lyricist.
You don't like rap music and you don't like horror films?
Ouch.
Oh my god.
Ouch.
And on the couch, who's that?
Yeah.
Who's on the couch tonight?
This is Cheeseman on the couch here. Your favorite boy hanging here on the couch every week.
My favorite
Part
is
of the ScareGuy.com.
He's gonna rap it now.
Yeah. And I listen to Eminem as well.
Oh my gosh.
And he
And I'm
likes
also
horror.
a friend
Does anybody
of
like
Jim,
Kanye?
if
I
that
like
counts as
Kanye.
anything.
I like Kanye. Jesus. So,
His Vegas music.
speaking of Vegas, a couple of us just got back from Vegas, and I have a couple of pictures I want to share with you because I think
Do
it's...
we have more pictures of Brad?
No. So, right
That
now...
doesn't look like Brad.
we were in Vegas this week, and that's why I'm
That's
having a little
Brad.
bit of problem with my voice because it was a loud week, and we saw
Yeah.
the Wailers. The Wailers, Bob Marley and the
Bob
Wailers.
Marley.
Yeah,
Oh.
now
But not Bob Marley, the Wailers.
that would have been a crazy trip.
Yeah.
But
The
we saw-
ghost of Bob Marley.
That
Would have
was
been
such-
appropriate
See,
for the
then
Scare
that
Guy
would have been
podcast.
good for the Scare
Yeah.
Guy, the ghost of Bob Marley.
Oh, that'd been great. But anyways, the coolest thing is if you guys have ever spent any time in the Mojave Desert, it's one creepy place. And
Yeah.
we were listening to a podcast on the way back talking about the paranormal and strange sightings in the Mojave Desert. Well, anyways, so we decided let's stop at a couple of spots and see what the Mojave Desert has for us. It doesn't have a lot, but it does have this. This is the world's largest Chevron station.
Wow.
That's their claim to fame. There's a sign on the side of the road, and you go inside,
But
and
that
there's...
was the cashier.
This is pretty great. They have
That's a
Bigfoot here.
Bigfoot.
And then you keep driving up the 15 towards Los Angeles. What else do we have, Anthony? Have you guys stopped in Baker and seen the alien beef jerky place or the alien jerky?
I've been by there and been curious.
They're building an alien hotel. They have all kinds of alien this and alien that. They made a whole industry. And we have one more picture, I think. And that's, instead of
Fortune
Zoltar.
teller, like the...
Yeah,
is that what it is?
like
Yeah.
Zoltar.
Yeah.
So I didn't think we were going to have anything to show on the show today from our trip to Vegas. You know what happened there, stayed there, but
we just didn't do anything. We took a nerd break. We took a scary break and just floated around a pool for like.
We just
3
went to
days.
Mandalay, floated around the pool, drinks in hands, saw a cool concert.
We could do a great reggae podcast though.
Oh, that would be. It was such a good show, man. It was so good. But I came back with the same amount of money in my pocket as when I left. That means I gambled a lot, and then I got it all back. So I'm really happy about that. Anyways,
But he hasn't got his Venmo request yet.
oh, this was
So that
it was the most
completely
expensive
change
trip. It should not have been. Oh boy. Anyways, so Brad, who is always a silent member of our show every week, he's always texting us. Brad, if you're watching, Brad's already. Yes, Sharks are already on the attack. So Brad actually went with us this weekend as well. And so it's kind of cool to get all the guys down there. And Scott, who is the web editor of the Scare Guy and the Con Guy, he was down there with us as well. So it was a really good weekend.
We had a business meeting. Floating around
the pool, so we're writing that
yeah.
weekend off. All right. Just real quick before we head out into the rest of the show. Last weekend, I just want to say thank you to our engineers here at AfterBuzz and Popcorn Talk, Anthony and Steven, for hosting us over at the big compound in the screening room for AfterBuzz for basically a weekend horror movie something.
Yeah, now
fest.
I missed this, so you're gonna have to tell us what it was like.
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I
It was
got a text message at
midnight
11
showing
o'clock.
of.
The Exorcist.
Yeah.
It was a midnight showing of The Exorcist over at the compound. I don't know what
It's a house.
At the house.
It's not a compound. It's a regular house.
And I think they provided margaritas and a riff track.
It was
Is that right?
it was margaritas and Exorcist. Those
And lots of pizza
Lo-
and
a lot, way too much
chips and
margaritas.
salsa.
And let's just say it was like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Like at the very beginning of the movie, we're sitting there and Steven, he turns on the closed captioning and it's on and it's a great big screen. I'm like, hey, what? You got the closed captioning on? He goes, oh yeah, you're gonna need that later. I'm like, for what?
It's the roast of the Exorcist.
I didn't hear a single word in that whole movie. It was like the Exorcist roast. I've never seen anything like it. It's the only time I've ever watched The Exorcist and laughed almost through the entire movie. If there was anything to being made fun of, they did it. Anyways, it was your first time ever seeing his only time ever having seen The Exorcist.
I was very worried about seeing it that late at night. I was like, do I want my first full Exorcist experience to be like, all right, and it's 2 a.m. I'm going home and going to bed with leaving the lights on. But because it became a comedic experience, I was able to sleep.
Well, there you
no
go.
problem.
It was great.
Yeah.
That's your first time seeing The Exorcist? Have a bunch of people talk the whole time?
Yeah,
Throwing
so
spoons at
I haven't
it,
seen it
they're-
either, so I'm kind of glad that I
It's
missed.
crazy.
That
This
sounds
story,
terrible.
but-
That sounds like the
Yeah.
worst way to see The Exorcist possible if it's your first time. Which version was it? The
Director's cut.
So the Spider Walk.
Spider Walk.
But I may see it again.
Which one do you like? Do you like that version or do you like the theatrical version?
I like the theatrical version.
I think the Spider Walk ruins the flow of the movie.
It's just it's so insane.
Yep.
That then the other stuff that happens later on, you're kind of like, well, is that crazier than what you just did down the stairs? That was the
Yep.
craziest thing ever.
I could see
I want
that.
to see the documentary and then maybe see it again after that.
You
We
were
talked about
at
that
Scare
last
LA
week.
when Linda Blair was there. She was there
That's
just
right.
like one or two panels right before you. You guys had kind of closed out the convention with your panel. But Linda Blair was there and we were talking a couple
She
of weeks
told
ago.
us like 50 times to just watch the documentary and not ask questions about Exorcist, so I figure I need to watch
No,
that
every
now.
time someone had a question about The Exorcist, she goes, "That's in the documentary. Let's talk about my dogs." And
Right. What would you,
we don't know. I know we don't want to speak.
You know
ill.
what's a really good thing though
What?
to check out for The Exorcist? It's a podcast called Inside the Exorcist.
Oh my!
And it's on Wandery, and it's absolutely that's the best podcast to listen to with headphones on, because the sound design is incredible. They take you behind the scenes, and they actually shared stories that I didn't know. And I'm a real horror nerd.
Yeah?
So I was like, all right, I'm just ready to hear all the stories I know. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But then it was a ton of stories I didn't know, including the woman that was the voice of The Exorcist. I always assumed that was just some kind of effect they did later on. No, it's some lady, and she had a whole story about how she had to drink booze and smoke, and but she was very religious, and she was a recovering addict, so she had to have a priest in the room with her while she was doing the demon voice.
Oh my god.
It's 7 episodes.
What's the name of it again?
Inside the Exorcist. So he's done Inside the Exorcist, Inside Psycho. He just did Inside Jaws.
What?
Oh,
It's
there we
incredible.
go.
Yeah. And the Inside Jaws one's really interesting because they have some really cool stories I don't want to blow it. It's awesome. There's stuff
I've read
you
the
know.
Jaws log. I've watched all the documentaries.
It'll be a
on the
lot of
books
stuff you
and all
know.
that.
There'll be a handful of things that pop in and you go, whoa, I had no idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they even go all the way up to the most recent
Watch
South
it.
by Southwest and find a way to weave that in there with Spielberg, and it's really cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta check that out.
Since we are talking to John right now, we have hey Anthony, can we show the very first clip from the film? This is John Murdy from Universal Studios Hollywood, here at the premiere, I guess, of the film.
That was at the LA premiere at the Egyptian Theater, which we sold out at
All
Beyond
right.
Fest. That was
Nice.
awesome.
Well, this is what John Murdy had to say about it.
You have to see Haunters. It is the definitive movie about the haunt industry, and you have to check it out.
Oh,
It
Oh,
actually
lots of
made me
reviews.
proud to be a haunter. You know, just seeing everybody's creativity, both from people who do it in their homes to people who do it professionally. It just made me go like, gosh, what have I been missing all these years? Because it made me want to, go to all of these different haunts and see all this stuff, this incredible stuff that people do. It's really inspiring. I loved it.
All right. Now streaming on Netflix. John, we would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. We're going to introduce you to everybody, and then we're gonna at the end of the show. The second half of the show is all about the film. So,
Okay, cool. Well, number one, that was John Murdy. So John Murdy is the head haunter at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights.
Haunting royalty, we should
Yeah,
say. Yeah.
he's like the most influential haunter in the world. And that reaction from him about my movie got me so excited and really emotional because I'm a huge nerd of haunts, and I've gone every single year they've ever had Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. I still have my program from 1992.
Oh,
wow.
That has like the little orange insert that tells you about how Penn and Teller was performing in the Star Trek theater. I love this stuff, and I love what he does there. With his part with Chris Williams also. Everyone over there, they're incredible. I mean, what they do, we can walk into your favorite movie and your favorite TV. Last year when it was Ash versus Evil Dead, I lost my mind because it was like this is exactly the show. And I'm so excited for this year because of Stranger Things. And,
absolutely.
Poltergeist.
Okay, can I tell you something?
Oh, Trick or Treat.
It's 80s all the way, it seems like this year.
Well, there's a lot of 80s, but there's a lot. Look, Trick or Treat was way past that.
Right.
And then of course Stranger Things is now, but it's flashback. So I'm really excited for all that. And I am bummed that the Universal Studios in Florida gets the Killer Clowns from Outer Space Scare Zone and we don't. But whatever. Yeah. I'll get over it. Yeah. Look, when I made my movie, I didn't realize when I first started that I was going to be going down a really bizarre, dark rabbit hole. It really did become about, how haunted houses for Halloween have spawned a subculture of full contact terror simulations.
Yeah.
And how far is too far. And we saw how far is too far while I'm making it. But I have a background in doing all kinds of fun stuff for Halloween. I was really lucky when I got hired by Tim Burton to do President Obama's first Halloween party at the White House.
Really?
It was like one of the coolest things ever. It was he hired me to produce 3D ghost illusions of the presidents. So like you saw George Washington and he turns into a ghost. And I was at the White House for 2 days, while Obama was president. It was pretty cool. And
Did you meet the president?
no, but I met his dog. And
That's
I was
cool,
like,
too.
I'm petting the dog. The
But
president's hand was on
You were
me.
working for Tim Burton doing all this.
That's
so-
right.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
That was pretty
no
cool.
disrespect to Mr. President.
Certainly
but
not, but
Tim
I don't know,
Burton?
like-
You were working for Tim
Yeah,
Burton?
I don't know which one I'd be more excited about, meeting
I know.
a president
Look, I'll
or
tell
Tim
you.
Burton.
Let me
I know.
tell you, like Tim Burton. So I sent him my intro to TV project when I was in film school, and I thought he's gonna love this. This is a great intro to TV project, and it was crazy. I mean, I got everybody. I got Lloyd Kaufman to be in it from Trauma. He was
Really?
doing Citizen Toxie, and I was like, I said, Lloyd, I really want you to be my intro to TV project. He's like, who's going to watch it? I said, dozens. Literally dozens of people will watch this. But I have an in with 8 other kids. I think we might get to 20. 20 people will look at this. And I'm like, and I want to give you the opportunity. He's like, yes, that's perfect. And he had me go. He was filming at the Playboy Mansion. I met this one playmate. I'm like, would you hang out with my grandfather and watch Yentl with him? This will be a great part of the show. This is a really wild show. And then I sent it off to certain people that I thought would really enjoy it. Mark Summers from Double Dare.
Oh, yeah.
Which he sent it to Tom Green. Then Tom Green and I got to hang out. It was really cool.
That's one of your idols,
Yeah, I
isn't it?
love Tom Green.
We talked about that movie, Freddy Got Fingered.
Yep.
And I really wanted to talk to him about the commentary track to that movie and the bonus features. Because the bonus features of that
Really?
movie, did you never see the bonus features of
I don't
his?
think so.
The bonus features, he points out how all the extras are in their 70s and 80s.
What?
And in between takes, he would bother all of them. And then all the bonus features are him like spraying seltzer water on. They're like, stop it, leave us alone. He's like, you're on my movie. I'm in charge of you. And it was like, oh my God. It was so funny. His commentary track was so great because, oh God, just his commentary track is, he keeps pointing out the same, look, it's Rip Torn. And every time Rip Torn comes back, look, it's Rip Torn again. Great actor. Big actor. And he kept talking about the budget. You know how much this part cost? That movie was a really expensive movie too. But I sent it off to Tim Burton, and his assistant was like, yeah, Tim really thought it was cool. If you're ever in London, look us up. I'm like, I'm never going to be in London. I live at home with my parents. I'm broke. I spent all my money going to film school. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to ever... Well, whatever. Fast forward years and years later, I get married, and my wife goes, where do you want a honeymoon? I'm like, I hear London's great.
No,
I sent off an email. Now I know his assistant became his associate producer, worked with him for years. And it was like, yeah, come on over. And so when I went there, I went over to their office, and it was the coolest thing ever.
you really did, huh?
Yes. And Tim, we hung out, and then he actually showed me the cookie stomping machines from Edward Scissorhands.
Really?
And I had a 3D camera rig with me. And I started taking 3D pictures of everything. By the way, my Intro to TV project, the whole middle section, you had to put on 3D glasses. It was like, and now put on your 3D glasses.
But luckily, since only a dozen people saw it, you only needed 12 of those. Right? I'm just kidding.
Well, a lot of protesters came for the last screening, so we had to get a lot more 3D glasses to the audience. And then they were just there to yell at me. You know, they were really upset about the movie, about the Intro to TV project. But they thought I was glorifying the gay lifestyle because I interviewed a friend of mine who's a gay Samoan. And I'm just like, this guy's the most fascinating guy I know. He's a gay Samoan. And it was really funny because I put my dad in the audience in the front row. And my dad's hilarious, great guy. But you know, this is not his cup of tea. And I keep cutting back to my dad and I go, are you a little disappointed in this? A little disappointed? He's like, a little bit? I'm like, this is all your money. This is all your money. This is really disappointing. That show was so... We even had a cartoon, Rabbi Shlomo the Jewish Avenger. His sideburns are switchblades. He had exploding yarmulkes. This is a really classy show. And Tim was just like asking questions about the 3D in the show and the 3D that I do. And I grew up loving... I grew up like being in love with so many subcultures. Horror, 3D, comics. Right. So it's like... You know, I formed this company called The Brain Factory. Yeah. And so we did really wild, we've done virtual reality projects, 3D, all that stuff. So I hung out with Tim Burton for a while, and then he had me produce a 3D lenticular for his MoMA art show. Lenticular is like when you have 3D on plastic and you move it and it like animates a little bit and moves around. Yeah. So is
it the thing that spins?
Doesn't always spin, but it's like, you know, it's as simple as like those movie posters in the theaters that were just in 3D that leap out at you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a mix of that kind of stuff. And I worked with like my favorite people on those. It was really awesome. And then we did the White House, which was like the coolest thing ever. Yeah. And then after that, we did a lot of cool projects. We did all the Taschen books, all their 3D books. But yeah, and then when it got to... It was like, wow, the 3D wave is crashing. And I've always been dying to do a feature film, and I love documentaries. And immediately I was like, I know what I want to do. I got to do it on haunted houses for Halloween. I have to do it. And I did a Kickstarter. This is a Kickstarter project. This whole movie, this is way under $100,000 budget. The fact that we went from Kickstarter to Netflix is still...
It's amazing. And we are going to stop right there.
Yeah, I think
I have more to talk about.
No.
That's just a place to pause.
That's a place to pause. Everybody, we are going to hear the full story of Haunters. Once we jump into Haunters, there's no turning back. So, because we have so many things. But Derek, since Ben's not here this week, would you mind going over the conventions, the horror conventions that are coming up?
Sure, there's some exciting stuff on the horizon. September 14th through 16th is Son of Monsterpalooza in Burbank, California. October 12th through 13th is FearCon in Salt Lake City, Utah. And then October 12th through 14th, Halloween 40 Years of Terror in Pasadena, California.
And they're showing Halloween that night in Eagle Rock. Anyways, but I haven't bought my tickets yet.
And the house is in Pasadena, am I right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You've heard about the Halloween 40th anniversary.
Right, but isn't Son of Monsterpalooza in Pasadena?
Yes.
The Pasadena Convention Center? It used to be in
Oh,
Burbank.
no.
Is Son of Monsterpalooza in Burbank and regular Monsterpalooza?
I thought it said, okay. I'm going to look this up. I'm going to check.
I've just got the list in front of me. I don't
Sorry.
have
Okay, sorry.
everything
Checking
else.
right
Immediately
now.
I was like, well, where do I go now?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because we want to...
I will find out.
All right, I'll keep reading for now.
Yes, please do.
Let's cover these. Okay, October 12th through 14th, same weekend, Halloween Palooza in Ottumwa. I'm sorry, is it Iowa?
I don't. It's Ottumwa. Look, you live.
I'm pronouncing
Real quick,
things.
I got
I'm
it.
butchering it. And I'm really
Wait.
sorry to anybody who is from that town.
Derek,
Yes.
I got the Monsterpalooza. It's at the Marriott Burbank Convention Center. and
It is
Hotel.
Marriott.
It's
Okay.
back at the... Okay, so
That's Son of
Monsterpalooza
Monsterpalooza?
is in Pasadena. Son of
Yeah.
Monsterpalooza is in
Correct.
Burbank. All
Okay.
right.
Son of a.
You said Marriott Burbank?
Yes.
Literally right down the
Right
street.
there.
Okay.
So glad I got that one right.
Good to know. Let's see. Then October 19th through 21st is Necronomicon, Tampa, Florida. And then October 26th through 28th is Spooky Empire in Orlando, Florida, which has the cast of X-Files.
I'm really sad
And then
about
Kathy Najimy from Hocus Pocus.
Right.
You gotta love her.
Did you see that Halloween Palooza? The guest of honor is Nancy.
Oh, I didn't read all that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Nancy Keys, who played Annie in the original Halloween, and Kathleen Kinmont, who played Kelly Meeker in Halloween 4. So this year's all about Halloween. I don't know if I didn't warn you. This is basically the Halloween show. The Halloween H2O Part 4, but this year it's all about Halloween.
Yeah.
Just Halloween, I guess.
there's the
It
Halloween.
comes out
The
of
new
my
movie coming
birthday,
out.
October 19th.
That's your birthday?
Yes, it is, and I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Gosh, we're having a special show right around that time. Jamie's going to come back. He played Michael in one of the commercials, right?
Not Jamie Lee Curtis, but our
Oh,
friend
I'm so sorry.
Jamie.
I know. I got everybody all excited there. Huh?
Our friend Jamie Avera.
Jamie
Yeah, I
Graham.
know him.
Yeah.
He worked at one of the haunts I put on.
Did he
Oh,
really?
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
he's great.
YouTube. He was a giant zombie.
He's a
Scared the
giant.
hell
He
out
is,
of everybody.
He's a big guy.
Yeah,
he
he
got to
is.
play Michael Myers this year, and in a commercial for Universal Studios. I
Yeah,
think.
it was
Right.
Halloween Horror Nights preview. Yeah.
So
For the part 4 maze.
So was it the part 4 Michael he's dressed up
He's
as?
the part 4 Michael. That's right, because they've been doing each Halloween. They did last year was part 3. They did part 2 when you went through the hospital and the giant pumpkin. It was awesome.
Speaking of Halloween, can we talk? We just have a couple of items to talk about. News of the week. The movie Halloween had its premiere in
At
Toronto.
Toronto Film Fest.
Yes.
Yes, and apparently people really liked it.
I was going to say the reviews are in. It is supposedly a very amazing film. They said, all by itself, absent the original film, it's a great film. With the original film, for those of us who are fans, it's a tremendous film. So Anthony, have you seen Halloween yet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I told you.
Okay, good. I told you.
multiple times, bro.
Man, just stop bothering me.
But also just
Listen.
premiered. What?
Oh, no.
Okay, sorry. Also just premiered this past weekend was The Nun, which apparently did really well at the box office.
How well?
53 million domestic, 131 global.
Yep.
See, franchise record, second biggest.
It's the second biggest September debut ever.
Yeah.
Too well for what it was.
Wait. Did you see it, Anthony?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it.
What'd you think?
It's like mediocre at best.
Mediocre.
God.
Okay,
That's
well.
it. That's Anthony. Everything's mediocre at best except for Hereditary and
What?
Suspiria, right?
Chill.
And The Thing.
So it has the record though for September openings.
No. It last year has the record.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's
That
what
has
she's
the
saying.
record.
Oh
The-
yeah, it. Oh,
the movie-
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry. The
known
movie
as
It.
It.
Yes.
123 million
So
in September.
that's first place.
First place.
Gotcha.
It is still the largest opening and the largest horror movie ever, box office wise. Maybe not influence wise, and this is the second biggest in September. September's always been kind of like a snoozer of a month, but now Warner Brothers and New Line have captured that month, and they know kind of like Disney owns November, and around Thanksgiving.
Well, I think Halloween's just starting earlier and earlier. Pretty soon it'll be June. That's
true.
They're
Yeah.
starting
The same way
Halloween.
that the summer blockbuster season has bumped up more and more, and it's starting in like March now.
Yeah.
But Anthony is correct that The Nun is not getting the best reviews. It is the most poorly reviewed movie in the Conjuring universe. But that did not stop anybody from
That
seeing.
sounds horrible the way you say it. In the Conjuring universe.
No,
you
it's
say
fun.
universe. I'm like,
They're calling it the Conjuring universe.
look,
Conjuring
people,
1, Conjuring
it's
2.
really fun to hate on things.
I
It's
know.
so much fun for people to go. You know what's funny is all the people like your friend who's on The Voice who said that he didn't like
Anthony.
his, but he liked The Thing, right?
Yeah. Anthony?
Yeah.
So The Thing was so poorly reviewed and fans hated it so much in America and it made so little money that John Carpenter's career almost totally came to an end. And then John Carpenter was forced to make movies that weren't horror films. He was supposed to go out of... that's when he did Starman. That's when he had to do... I remember when he had to do Chevy Chase's Memoirs of an Invisible Man. He had
That was
to do-
John Carpenter?
That was John Carpenter.
Yeah. Wow.
And he had to do a lot of the things just to salvage his career. Now, The Thing is... as we all know,
Masterpiece.
is a masterpiece. A lot of times people see a movie and they go, oh, this is garbage. And then that ends up being, well, it's garbage because your mindset is so narrow that you don't see the future the way they saw the future. I ran into someone who was like, Hereditary is the worst movie I've ever seen. I was like, how was the acting? Amazing. How was the directing? Amazing. The writing, the cinematography, all amazing, right? So shut the fuck up. Okay, that was one F-bomb. I was told we can get away with 2. I'm gonna do the 1 because I get really passionate when I hear about people going, "Oh, this is no good." It's like, "Oh my god, I haven't even seen The Nun yet."
There you go.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it
There
yet.
you go. Then why are you?
I will
mean,
tell
like,
you.
Come on.
I will tell you because
Don't get him
man,
started on Hereditary.
when people casually just go, meh, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna see it. Let's see. I'll see how I feel about it. But it's James Wan.
Yeah.
There's very few horror directors now. You say the name, you know them, you know the tone, you know the feeling, and it's not easy to create an all new original character and creature. And he keeps cranking them out like it's.
I know.
Yeah, but like at what expense? Like each one is deteriorating in quality the more they crank them out. And I mean, at least that's in my personal opinion.
That is your personal opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
He's drinking margaritas already.
I mean, his first movie was Saw. His first movie was like a whole new genre. It was like it's a whole new thing. I mean, that's the. I mean, and then you look at his writing partner. Lee Wanell.
Yeah.
He came up with Upgrade.
Yeah, Upgrade was amazing. Did you see Upgrade?
Yeah, but I have to like kind of give it to Leigh Whannell because he also has a co-credit like writing for Saw.
Yeah, and he also acted in Saw.
Yeah.
And he also wrote the Insidious movies, and he's also acting in the Insidious movies, and he directed Insidious Chapter 3.
Which is my favorite one.
I love Chapter... Okay, all right. Well, we'll talk afterwards. Chapter 3 doesn't get enough love, and I love Chapter 3.
It's
The camera
fantastic.
going out the window and back again. Did you see Chapter 3?
I didn't see Chapter 3 yet.
Oh my god.
What
It's so creepy.
Personally,
I
think
heard
it's
it
a
was
better
really good.
filmmaker.
Oh, you gotta watch it with
Wasn't
the
Chapter
volume.
3 a prequel?
No.
No, wait.
No.
This is the... Okay, Insidious. Wait.
Chapter 3, they went on a different... It was like Chapter 4... It was Chapter 2 that was the prequel. Chapter 4 was flashing back and forth constantly. Chapter 3, that was just another story with different characters, different family. And Chapter 3 was so cool. They had this thing with this girl with these broken legs, and she's walking, and then she's like kind of possessed. She's breaking off the cast.
I saw that.
You hear the bones crackling the whole time.
I can't take that.
Oh, the shot though where it goes out the window
Yeah.
and there's nobody there. It goes back inside, then it goes out the window and there's the thing. Oh my god, it was so great. And Lee Whannell, like what he did with did you see Upgrade?
Yeah.
I feel like such a loser. I haven't seen these movies.
I saw Upgrade at South by Southwest, and then I finagled
Okay.
my way into the premiere, and that movie is so it's like someone uncovered a Verhoeven movie from the 80s. It's like RoboCop meets someone else did the best comparison. They said it's like RoboCop meets Terminator meets the movie Her. And it really is like that.
Wow.
Oh my god. It's like it's ridiculous.
I mean, just based on the trailer, that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah.
all right. It's fun.
I'm gonna speed this part.
Sorry.
We gotta talk about your movie.
I know we need to get to Haunters, but
Okay.
here's the deal.
Look who's Whoopi this time.
All
Is that what Brad says?
I need to be Whoopi Goldberg and get us through this view section. What is that? Brad's on him. Hey, by the way,
Whoopi Goldberg does that?
speaking
She
of
speeds people through the
that
show, I guess.
during the day.
Which we're really
review.
not doing now by stopping to talk
Yeah.
about speeding through the show.
Speaking
Come
of
on, Jen.
Trivial Pursuit for horror movies, Trivial Pursuit is releasing a new version, all horror movies. It comes out soon. You can Here's how they say it. The movie horror edition of Trivial Pursuit allows players to test their knowledge of 100 years of horror, including 600
Wow.
questions relating to psychological thrillers, epic monster films, the paranormal, and the goriest and most disturbing cinema of all time. Trivial Pursuit Horror Movie Edition is available at GameStop stores and on Amazon.
That includes the
Toy Wiz.
classic monsters then.
Yes, and also it's everything. It's
Yeah.
everything. But like we're sitting here talking about all this horror movie trivia. I can't. That would probably be an awesome game to play for buffs like us. Well, like us, not you, Derek.
Like you guys.
You would lose out.
Yeah. I could probably beat you in just about any other Trivial Pursuit, Jim.
Probably.
I am
yeah.
not going to dispute
But
that.
there's no chance that you'd totally take me in that one.
All right, and the movie The House with the Clock in its Walls, which is pseudo horror.
Yeah, it's like kids horror.
It's kids horror is being released in IMAX theaters with a remastered Michael Jackson's Thriller in 3D.
Interesting.
Which is kind of a cool announcement that came out
Interesting, yeah.
this week. Yeah.
That's weird.
Is that kind of cool? Anyways,
Weirdly awesome.
Well, they've had that Thriller for a long time now, and they've only been able to release it a couple of times because of the estate. But when they did release it years ago, I saw it at the Chinese theater. It was gorgeous 3D. Absolutely beautiful.
what, you saw Thriller in 3D?
Yeah, it's incredible. Like John Landis supervised the whole thing. You know, this
Yeah.
is like it's really
I
incredible.
think it's a
what they did.
masterpiece miniature movie. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
if
great.
you're ever like in Silver Lake or like the Echo Park area, you always get parking by the Thriller House. There's always
Where is the Thriller House? I've heard that.
it's right over there. It's like this, and you
My friend just saw it today, I think. She said.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And where's the theater? Was that the Orpheum downtown?
Oh, I forget.
I'm going to have to look it up. I'm going to go see the Thriller spots. I love it. Thriller is just, for those of us old enough, for me, old enough to remember when it came out. I
remember.
It was a phenomenon. I just remember when it was like the final time Friday Night Videos will ever show Thriller, and it was done. It was off TV, and I don't know what that was about. I guess they were holding it back to make more money later or something like that. Anyways, let's talk about this little film on Netflix called Haunters, The Art of the Scare. So, anyways, all of us have seen it. I've seen it a couple times. You saw it a couple times, I think.
Yeah, you had it on one time. I didn't fully see it.
Before I
yet.
ever met
saw,
you,
like, parts
I was
of it.
watching
Yeah,
it, yeah.
but then I
Rave
watched
review.
Well,
It was
I
great.
saw
Yeah,
parts of it one time, and then you forced me to watch it again. Fantastic. I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're here.
It kept drawing my eye. I was trying to work.
What was
but-
the show? It's the big Halloween store that's down near Anaheim. That has their day-long convention. I think I met one of you.
The Spook Show.
The Spook Show.
That was
That's
at
right.
Oh,
Spook Show.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's what we had. We're the first panel they ever had.
Yes.
They had it in the warehouse. We were standing on pallets, and when Donald stood on it, the pallet stage started falling apart. And I'm like, "Get off the stage!" And he's so tall that he stood there, and he was still the same height as the rest of us. But
That's where I first heard about it. I was like, I've got to go watch this. So I watched it that weekend, and then I saw you guys. Okay, and then I saw you guys down at Midsummer.
we were at Scare LA.
And
We were at
one of those conventions
Look,
of the
they all have something scary in the title.
Yes.
You know, but yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, we had a Spook Show, and then we were at Scare LA, and we're there with Donald and Shar, and
yeah.
and it was a lot of fun.
For those who don't know, can you give us kind of like the basic premise of what the documentary is about?
Okay, so we follow. Okay, the main character we follow is Russ McCamey of McCamey Manor, and that is. A lot of people were asking, why did you spend so much time on Russ? I'm like, it's the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. That's why.
You could almost do a full documentary just on
He's
that.
so
It's
interesting, though,
So
yeah?
interesting.
You know, you're right, but here's the thing. If you just do a full documentary on McCamey Manor,
I couldn't watch it.
you know,
maybe.
it's
It's
tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
You know, when you put Russ in the same movie as Shar Mayer, legendary scare actor. First time I ever saw her was in a show called Play Dead. She scared me so bad I fell out of my seat. She's the kind of monster that's behind the mask that she's scaring you for all the right reasons. She's a real entertainer. She knows how to do it, and I was only going to do one interview with her, and when I did this interview with her, and she starts talking about the connection between the monster and the human, and how it's an exchange of energy, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then we also had Donald Jolson, so he's the one wearing the dark glasses.
Yeah, and his story was really interesting.
Yeah.
So Donald, I have known since the 6th grade.
Oh yeah.
I've known him forever. He's my best friend forever. And I was the new kid in school at La Madera Elementary School in Orange County, and I had a bunch of Fangorias with me. I had Fangoria and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I showed up to the first day of school reading all this stuff, and he's like, we started hanging out, and they had a haunted house, and we were the end monsters because we made our own costumes, and we were really aggressive about scaring people. Of course, I'm in the movie, actually. There's a part where Donald shows a picture of himself in the 6th grade, and he's wearing the army outfit with the mask.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
I'm the kid wearing the skeleton shirt and the Freddy claw and the... Yeah, it was very it was 80s, so I was like, I made my own weird little costume. But, we became like best friends. But I knew his family growing up. And
his brothers that beat on him.
And me too.
You too?
Well, I only went there a couple times in my life because it was so crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I met his brothers, they were coming down the stairs wearing a mask, and I was like, oh, they're just gonna scare us. And then they tackled us, and then they tied us up, and then next thing you know, out come these lawn darts that get thrown in the air. I'm like, okay, this is insane. This was like Deliverance in Orange County. This was not all of Deliverance, just the scary part. Not all of it, not that.
Yeah.
It was not that at all. But it was...
Squeal like a pig.
Yeah, not at all. But crazy. And I remember years later, Donald was like, you know what, I'm doing a haunted house with my family now. You should come. I'm like, I'm not going there. The Manson family haunted house. There's no way. People have been arrested there on Mother's Day. I'm not going. There's not you. And then my mom went, and she goes, "Oh, it's so great what they do." I'm like, "What are you doing there?" And then my whole family would go. I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go down there." And I went, and I was like, "Oh my God, this dysfunctional family was brought together by a haunted house." And I completely fell in love with it. And then it was funny because then his wife was like, you can't do this anymore. We're having a baby. I'm like, oh, this could be a good movie right here. And then his neighbor across the street has a haunted house also. And he's been having a haunt for a decade. And I was like, wait a minute. And his neighbor's haunt's fantastic too. And I told Donald, I was like, so you must be like really good friends with that guy. He's like, I don't talk to him. I've never talked to him before in my life. He's the competition.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is the movie.
Yeah.
This is it. Just house here, house there. And I start filming both sides, telling their stories. I'm like, this is fantastic. And the next day I show up, Donald's like, you know what? You're right. I introduced myself to him. What a nice guy. I don't know what I was thinking all these years. I'm like, well, there goes that movie.
Oh yeah, no tension there. So, Katie, you were talking about it earlier. This was your first time seeing it. You watched it in 2 different sections, right?
Yeah. I started and watched half of it, then I watched the second half a couple days later.
What'd you think?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was I liked
As someone who is in the industry yourself.
Sometimes when it jumps back and forth between stories, it can get confusing, but I thought it was all very well put together, and you're like, okay, now I get to go hear a little bit more, but they were all kind of related in what they were talking about at that time, and I really liked that. And it was definitely interesting to see the personalities.
Yeah.
Because I think is what's good with breaking up the McCamey stuff, because he's a very, you need something to break it up. I think there was one segment where I was like, okay, would you do your haunt? And he's like, no. He's like, the people that do this are crazy.
But what's the reason he said? They asked him why, and he said why?
Because he's scared. He gets scared.
He says, I have common sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I have common sense. That's right. Yeah.
Because I have common sense. I was like, oh my God.
I thought that said a lot when he said that. I'm like, he's literally like, I'm making, and he's not making money off of it, but just the whole, I'm not going to do it.
And
or how easily he gets scared.
By snails.
Yeah.
He's terrified of snails.
Yeah, there's the scene where they're working on it and they're chasing after him with a snail or something, and he's freaking out.
Yeah.
Didn't he also say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they said nobody's lasted the entire time there. They last for a certain number of hours and then run away.
Look, it goes on for hours and hours and hours.
I mean, eventually
someone else was in there for 6 hours, and I'm like, I think
that's long enough.
That's long enough.
If I lasted that long, I probably would just leave because I was tired of it, if nothing else. If I wasn't completely freaked out and losing my mind.
Yeah.
It's terrifying, but it was. Look, the fact that he didn't have a safe word is what blew my mind.
I know
that's troubling.
That's something too. I wanted to put Black out of my movie because the haunt community was really rough on Blackout when they first came out. They were brutal to them. And
are you guys familiar with Blackout?
I had only heard about it from this.
So Blackout, it's so interesting. I mean, their origin stories in the bonus features. So look, I filmed 13 haunted houses, and I filmed them for years. I filmed Delusion for 3 years. and I put them in the bonus features, and they're in the movie for like 2 minutes, and I love Delusion. Whenever I had to cut something down, it drove me nuts because I was like, look, the first cut of the movie should have been called like Hauntapalooza. It was just like Hauntgasm. It was all haunt. It was like haunt. And if you're into haunts, it was like perfect. If you weren't, it was garbage. It was just like, I showed it to someone who wasn't into it, and they were just like, what the hell was that? I'm like, you're right. And I thought about it. I was like, I'm not trying to do a haunt video yearbook. I'm not trying to do like a haunt, like, here's a bunch of haunts. I want to tell a story. And my favorite movies are the ones where you laugh, you get emotional, you get horrified, you get freaked out, and by the end you want to have an argument with your best friend. You want to have a big debate. That's a great movie to me. And there's even people now that have been talking to us online that never went to a haunt before, never dressed up for Halloween before. They're just not into it. I know. And they got so into the movie because the movie picks a fight with you. Mm-hmm. When they start seeing the Russ character, then they go, wait a minute. This might be too much for me. Yeah. But what Donald is doing is so great. And what Char is doing great. And then you get a glimpse into Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. You get to see a little bit of the Not Scary Farm. When you start adding it up and you see all those montages and you have those other moments where you get to meet the monsters and get to hear their stories, there have been a ton of people that have been reaching out to Char saying, I'm now a scare actor after watching the movie. They saw it at the film festivals last year, and now this year they're haunting, which is incredible. We get those messages all the time.
And she's well known because she's one of the longest serving scare actors, right?
Right. Look, she's a legend. I mean, she started home haunting in 1974.
Wow.
And then look, she worked at Not Scary Farm for over 14 years as Smiley. She had her own character that she created in the ghost town streets. But she also did Delusion, Blackout. So she's done the extreme haunts. She's the first scare actor to do every single form of haunt. Like, she's Neil Armstrong of haunting. There'll be somebody else. There'll be a number two, but she's the first. And I think it kind of drove me nuts. I'm like, she deserves so much respect because she's done she's done the hayride. She's done it all. So I didn't stress on the lower thirds on a lot of people, but hers, I was like, no, legendary scare actor, must say that.
And she's appeared, I think, I know she was at Scare LA with you, and she's probably appeared a couple of times, and she's such a pleasure to talk with as well.
She's incredible. You know what's the crazy thing is, when the movie's finished, she starts telling me more stories, and I was like, she was in the original shadow cast of Rocky Horror Picture Show as Riff Raff. What?
Seriously?
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would have been really nice for the movie, Char. That drove me nuts. And then I found the footage of her when she was 18 doing that. I was like, okay, that would have been... I don't want to hear anymore. I don't want to hear more. And she starts telling me more stories, and every story was incredible. But her story that's in there it's a surprisingly emotional journey, and which is I don't know. People fall in love with her. And now when she goes to Whole Foods, people they hug her.
Yeah.
We were at Monster Palooza, and so I'm a huge fan of The Craft.
Yeah.
All right, The Craft is I love that movie. I watch it every year, and don't judge me. And I saw Fairuza Balk was there, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait in line and take the picture. I really am a huge Fairuza fan. And then I go up and meet her and take the picture, and I'm like, here's a button for my movie, Haunters. It's on Netflix. And she goes, that's the one with Char and Donald and Russ. I was like, well, you got all three names right. Wow. Usually that's the one with Charlene and Daryl and Davis. I'm like, no. But she was like, how is she doing? And she had all these questions. She'd seen it like 3 times. And then I texted Char because I knew she was there. I'm like, come to this booth right now. And Fairuza stops what she's doing and hugs Char, and she's like, oh my God, is your back okay? And this and that.
Because she got injured.
Yeah, seriously injured, because when she scares people, they would punch back. But then, of course, there's the people who get scared, but they show up, they're drunk, and they want to rough people up. The thing that's interesting in the movie that you find out, too, the more you look at it, you're like, wow, the traditional mazes can be the most dangerous for the actors because they cast a wide net. It's like, come on, everybody, this is for everybody. It's not for everybody, though. Not everybody. Like, that's why I have that guy in the movie, Craig, not a haunt fan. And I put not a haunt fan.
Right, I remember that, yeah.
Okay, I met him at my nephew's birthday party, and he says, I hear you're doing a haunted house movie. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a haunt fan. I'm like, oh, you are? And he told me the story about how he hit a scare actor in the face, and it was like the worst thing ever. Anyways, I wanted to focus on that in the movie too, because when people go to the extreme haunts, they're a little bit more mentally prepared. Blackout, it's naked people coming after you. It's the first extreme haunt I ever heard of, and it was like naked people waterboarding you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the people who did it, they would test it out on each other first, and they would. And in the bonus features, you actually get their entire origin story and watch them working with Jason Blum for a Purge haunted house. Anyways, but a lot of crazy stuff.
Because that happened in downtown LA, I think, a couple years ago, right?
Was it? Yeah, well, a few years
Longer
ago.
than that ago. Okay.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But yeah, no, I wanted to capture the whole rise of these extreme haunts and terror's entertainment. And I feel like when you watch it, then you get a great idea about the right way to scare, the wrong way to scare. You get a great discussion, a great debate, and it sparks a lot of conversations.
Yeah. I don't know if McCamey Manor would have been nearly as well known without your film.
That's not true. Some of
does
his
seem to have
YouTube
quite a
videos have like
following.
10 million
Yeah.
views.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
10 million? Oh
I
my
mean, however,
God.
I had never heard of it before I watched your film.
I
so
hadn't either. And it was like
That's at least 2 more people who found out.
Not a lot
about
of
it.
people realized he was a wedding singer. No
that
one
was
knew
bizarre.
that.
I love that moment where you've got the split screen with him singing at the wedding, and that's playing over all these video clips of the haunt.
That was my favorite moment.
Yeah.
I was even telling him you got to let me film the wedding. He's like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, there'll be a split screen, dude. I'm gonna split screen. He's like, that's a cool shot.
Brilliant.
I am really sorry to say, but we are kind of running up against a wall here of time in the studio. But Derek, you said that we just had to get this in. The most interesting part of the film for you was the journey of what's the guy's name with the glasses? Your friend Donald.
Oh yeah, just the interesting thing talking about that being a motivation for him and how he was able to kind of having been beaten up as a younger brother, being able to channel that into this, and in a way that isn't really, I guess, causing physical harm to people permanently. I don't know.
Well, he doesn't touch anybody. He's a traditional boo scare maze.
And I love that. And he and his wife are doing all right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, there's still. I thought the whole time I was filming, I'm like, they're gonna get divorced. Bad for them, interesting for the movie. Yeah. But no, they're still
That's
together.
awesome. I love that she was supporting him in that. That was great.
It's that's pretty funny.
We're gonna have to have you back on to talk because I just don't think there's enough time to go through it because I just want to get into where you think the future of haunts are going. But as we are wrapping up here, everyone. Can you tell us where we can see the movie, the bonus features, all that stuff, how people can see the movie?
Okay, so it's streaming on Netflix.
And show your t-shirt.
And well, by the way, take a look at the shirt.
Yeah.
All right, so Adam Rabelais did the shirt. Fright Rags is going to be putting out the shirt and an enamel pin.
That's awesome.
I'm a horror geek, so this is really
I scanned
exciting.
it. I scanned your pin.
That's right, the button. So we have, so there's a few things you should know. Okay. So it's on Netflix, streaming on Netflix. The bonus features, 30 minutes of bonus features that are it's like 7 mini documentaries. I spent months on these. I was obsessed over them, and they were a lot of fun to just haunt out to. It's a lot of fun. Nothing that's going to freak you out. It's really just a lot of fun. So that's on iTunes Extras, on Amazon, and if you buy the DVD or the Blu-ray. So it's either the DVD, Blu-ray, or iTunes Extras to get the 30 minutes of bonus features. If you go to hauntersmovie.com, you'll see a lot of cool stuff. But my favorite thing I've been putting together for a while now is called HauntBot. Okay, so if you go to my Facebook page, Haunters the Movie, that's it. Just go to Haunters the Movie. You're going to find the HauntBot. The HauntBot will interact with you. It'll help you find a haunt.
That's awesome.
It's going to do a lot of cool things. I haven't put all the haunts in yet, but it takes you behind the scenes of the movie. And September 25th, Tuesday, September 25th, we're having a live stream where you're going to do, one second.
Yeah, it's getting dry in here.
You're going to do a live stream with us. So basically, everyone's going to watch. We're going to have a countdown on Netflix. You're going to watch it. And then you can ask us questions. Char's going to be there. Donald's going to be there. We're going to be inside the 17th Door Haunted House.
Oh, fantastic.
Darren Lynn Bousman, the director of Saw 2, 3, and 4. Also the creator of the Tension Experience, the Lust Experience, and Theater Macabre. He'll be in there too. And so we're going to have a ton of other guests, and we're going to answer questions. And our favorite questions, going to win prizes. DVDs, posters, tickets to our favorite haunts. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Please let us post that and talk about that. Let us know any information. Also, anytime somebody can see them, if Hunters, sometimes I know it makes the circuits. It goes to a lot of festivals and things. If it's coming near you guys, we'll try to let you guys know about it so that you can check it out. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Again, we are going to have you back on just because we just have run out of time. I know that you might be making a stop near horror movie News Weekly with Anthony. Dun dun dun. There's a plug for that show, and wherever else that we can find you. So, again, everybody, check out Haunters on Netflix right now. Haunters: The Art of the Scare, and be paying attention to our site there. Also, your website is
HauntersMovie.com.
HauntersMovie.com, and follow him on social media. This guy's got a lot going on, and I have a feeling this is not the last we're going to hear about some of the characters in your film. Maybe we'll get a sequel. That would be awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. My name is Jim. I am the managing editor here at thescareguy.com. Please follow us on Twitter at @thescareguy. Please follow us on Instagram on thescareguy. And please follow, like us on YouTube. All that stuff to make us a popular show. I always mess up at the end. All right, Katie.
My name's Katie. You can find me on Instagram at Katie's Fairy Tale. I am a cosplayer, nerd, just overall media lover. So.
All right. Yourself.
Oh, yeah, I already told you. HauntersMovie.com. Go to HauntersMovie.com. If you go to Instagram, you can go to Haunters the movie. Go to Haunters the movie on Instagram. And right now, it's the guys who do the Houses October build talking about Haunters, which is really cool.
Hey, I'm Derek. I'm a contributor to theconguy.com. You can find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek, or you can put down your phone and go outside.
Yeah.
And I'm Cheeseman on the Couch. You can find me on Twitter at CheeseOnCouch and on thescareguy.com.
Thank you guys for watching this week. We did not get a chance to show the trailer that we had it ready to go. Go onto our website, thescareguy.com. We're going to have the trailer there, and check it out. They have all kinds of awards that they've been winning. I can't wait to share this with you guys, all right? All right, thanks a lot for coming on tonight. Bye guys.
All right, good night.
Man, my throat's breaking.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.